All right. I was waiting for the 00 on the screen. I was just waiting for it. Welcome to the family meeting. I have the honor of starting us out in prayer. So would you all join me in prayer as we get started? Lord Jesus, you are so good, and you've been in this room, and you've been in this place always, but this morning as we worshiped you and heard your word, and so we're grateful for the work you've already done in our midst today. But we just ask that you'd continue to be with us as we talk about your church and your kingdom and your work that we get to be a part of. And I just pray that you would guide us and lead us and be in the center of all the conversations today. And we pray all this in your name. Amen.
So well.
Is it on?
No, not yet. Well, I am.
Let me see real quick. All right. There we go. Let's see. Well, my name is Kyle, if we haven't met yet. That should be on.
There we go.
There we go.
My name's Tammy, and I am the care pastor here. And I recognize all of your faces, and I'm so thankful that you guys consider yourselves family. We just want to make sure that each of you know the staff that is here, and so we want to take a moment to introduce everyone. I'm going to start over here on this side, and we have Jimmy Van Sickle, and he is with students. Yeah, Jimmy. And then we have Pastor Fred. He is also the pastor over students. And then we have Chelsea. She is our communications director. And then we have Pastor Sherry, of course. She just prayed with us. And then over here on this side, we have Bruce. He is our safety team director. And right behind him, we have our newest staff member, Kelly Shipman, and she is our hospitality director. We're so grateful to have her here. And then, let's see, scanning. Then we have, I don't know if I get to introduce you yet. And then we have Margie back here. She is admin, all things admin. And then we have one of our board members, Alan Rassel. And then we have Frank Jackson, which is right next to him on our board. And then, let's see, Sean just walked in. Sean, IT, media. And then, of course, back at the board, we have Wendy Pankey running sound and board back there. And I think that is all of staff, board, and elders currently. So
Great. Thank you for the introduction. A lot of people are taking one of those vacation things, and so some are done today. And so praying for them as they continue to go, and they hope they come back safely as well. So we've got a good rundown today, and so we normally give a financial update, and so I'm going to invite Alan Razzle up here. He's a part of our board. Chad Cox, who is our board treasurer, is away on vacation, and so we're going to try to sound as smart as he is. Alan's a smart dude, so he'll do a great job of it. But yeah, come right up here. Let me make sure. This one's on? Very close. Testing. Testing 1, 2, here we go. Wendy.
Does it show this anywhere?
It's going to show on the back there.
Does it show anywhere for me here?
It should. If not, I'll bring it up while you introduce yourself.
can you introduce yourself, Alan?
It's not here. Well, that's okay. It's not there either.
Yeah, it's right behind you.
Okay. Good morning. As I said, Chad is not here as our treasurer. That's okay. I'll just stand here. And the good news is when they invited me to come up and do this, it's all good news. As you heard this morning, the financial, very thank you for a job well done. If you look at income, $1.3 million. Zach's in their tithe and offerings up about $68,000 versus last year. And May and June, we're hoping that they will come in at the same level. What's great about this is we're in the budgeting process right now for next year, and it really helps us from the standpoint of understanding where things are going and to be able to budget for next year. If you look at the expenses, they are up $74,000 versus last fiscal year, driven by a couple of things, one of which is the fact that we did refinance the church, which is a great news because obviously it was a lower rate. We were able to combine a couple of things together. And also another great thing is that you recognize that the expenses for everything are up. So for our staff, we were able to give them a cost of living adjustment, which is something that was badly needed, and just a way of appreciation for the staff. And then you go across to cash, and cash is always great to have it in there, and I can't read it. But basically it says we're down $83,000 due to several things that are on here. $399 emergency reserve, $111,000 designated admissions. So as we walk through this, it's all very, very good news. We thank you for it. It makes our job easier. And it really looks very bright coming into next year. Does anybody have any questions? I will try and answer them.
We can do questions at the end.
Oh, perfect.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Al. All right. Thank you, Al. Appreciate that. So if you have any questions about anything we're going to give to you guys today, we'll do a Q&A session at the end. So maybe write them down or take notes on your phone. We'd be happy. We want to make sure to get your questions answered as much as we can. And I'm going to turn it over to Tammy again. Go for it.
Today, but we do have a special announcement about her, and that is she has been so faithful, but she is retiring, and we are sad, but happy for her, because she has been incredible to this team, to this church. She will continue to be here at the church. She will continue to be volunteering like she does, but she is retiring, and we want to celebrate her. So just know that we are going to plan a celebration for her. And if you see her, congratulate her on her retirement. That is coming at the end of July, is what we think. And so just know that that's happening.
Yeah, and I've been chanting outside Bonnie's office 4 more years, and it hasn't worked yet. And so we've been joking about that for a while, and part of that is because we so appreciate who she is and what she has done for our church. And the other thing is, you know, she cares so much about our church, and she said, when you hire someone, do not settle. We want you to want a great person in there. And also, her and Roy have both asked, if you know anybody, we actually got some job descriptions here, because we really care about all positions at our church, and this one, because it's involved in finances and HR, is a very important position. So either if you think you would be qualified or would know someone, or if you would just like to know what the job details are entailed, if you're online, we can find a way to send one to you if you want to email info@lifepointmb.com. But we also have some of these in the back if you either want to take one of these and give it to someone else, if you think that they would be a good fit, and we would love to talk with them. And so we're going to miss Bonnie. She'll still be around and hanging out and keeping us in line, which is a full-time job in and of itself. So we're sad to see her go, but glad to have her stay as well. You know, in every family meeting, we also give some ministry updates, and so we're going to give you 3 of those today. Now, first, I'm going to welcome back up Pastor Sherry, and so she gave us a prayer, and I'm just going to give us a little bit of an update as well. Thank you. Thanks for being up here, young adult. Awesome. Good job.
I've changed my mind, though. Kyle and I were talking. I made the joke in the welcome that I wanted to be a young adult. I don't know if I want to be a young adult again. What was I thinking? Where were you to change my mind? Anyways, I am here to share an update about small groups, and it's just a joy to work with small groups. There's a lot of care, connection, discipling, inviting, going on in those groups, and I'm so grateful that LifePoint holds that up as a goal, priority, important thing in the life of our church, but also in the life of an individual. And so I was trying to think how best to share updates with you. And sometimes I like some statistics, so I'll try to not make them dry, but I'd love to share a little bit just where we're at with small groups. We have about 42 groups, and that includes traditional small groups, LifePoint women small groups, and students have small groups as well. And so a usual small group's about 12 people is average. And so that's a healthy size. And we have about 66 leaders, either main leaders, co-leaders, assistant leaders in that ministry. So we celebrate that as well. You might ask, well, how does our church fare compared to other churches? How are we doing? And so I looked at how many small group members we have in our church. And we have about 450. Now, that does not include our care groups or support and recovery groups who do give the same kind of benefit of connection. They're just a little different than a traditional small group. So small groups, LifePoint Women, student, couples, traditional small groups, 450. And so when you look at that and you look at our attendance, our average attendance, and I did that from January to May, it gives you a percentage of how many people that come to LifePoint are connecting in a small group, connecting in a way that's a bit more intimate. And I want to say connective, but now I've said the word connect 12 times. Get the benefit of being in a more intimate group. And that would be about 68% if I did my math correct. So is that a good number? I'm celebrating that because when you read small group gurus, you read their articles and their books, they say a healthy church has 40 to 50% of their people in small group. And they say great churches, whatever that means, but great churches have 80% of people in their small group. So we are right there in the middle at 68%. More than a healthy church, maybe not to a great church, but the good thing is we've grown in that percentage a little bit over the last couple of years. Actually, statistically, if you can follow me without PowerPoint, the number of our groups has stayed pretty consistent. So if you look and I'm talking about way back in January of 2020, and you look through now, the number of groups have stayed consistent. We've added groups, but we've also lost some groups and leaders. People have moved, people have changed churches, groups have decided to disband. But when you look at our percentage, our attendance has also gone down. So when you look at percentage-wise, a percentage has actually gone up a bit. So I don't know if that gives you a feel for where we're at as a church. Our goal, and we say this, is we want people in a small group. It is a goal of ours. And so 68%, we can keep growing. The other thing is the characteristics of small groups. So you could be praying and recruiting for this. We have more small groups for people 40s and 50s up. We do not have enough small groups for 20s and 30s right now. And if you notice people coming to the church and visiting, we have a lot of younger couples and young families. We also have a lot of open groups, but we have some groups that have chosen to be closed. And sometimes that's okay for a season. We're also trying to instill a culture of multiplication and growth and openness. So there are places for new people to go, and we're multiplying new leaders and new groups. The other thing is we have more off-campus groups. We have 17 off-campus groups and 10 on-campus groups. But we're running out of room. Like Wednesday nights, people want to come because they can drop their kids off at midweek, which is awesome, and have groups. But we're almost at capacity on Wednesday nights. Other nights, not so much. We also want to plant more groups in Carson City because we have more in Gardnerville and Minden than Carson City. So I don't know if that gives you a feel. We have not yet mastered doing online groups. We have, I think, just one online group in the LifePoint Women. So that's a whole nother area that we really need to work on and figure out. Just a couple more points and I'll be done. How do groups start? Lots of them start organically, which sometimes is the best way. People get together and they like each other and they say, let's keep meeting. But we also have We have a couple middle group, that's my way of saying, middle group opportunities. And these are important because if you come and you're anonymous in a large church setting, it takes a lot of courage to step from that place into driving to someone's home that you don't know very well and meeting intimately with 12 people. That's a big step for some people. So we've been trying to create middle ground places. So Rooted has been great. They can come to the church and be in a program that's big, but then they're put in a small group and they get used to what that feels like, and then that births a continuing small group. Or they come to the series group. How many of you have done the Heaven or Wind and Fire series? We have a discussion group Wednesday night. Again, you can come and be with 40 people instead of 12 and learn what it's like to discuss the Bible. And so men's breakfast could be the same kind of middle group. Support and recovery is often a middle group, or it's just a little easier to come to a church or a group of 40 instead of a group of 12. So my hope is that we'd continue building on that. And lastly, I just really love our leaders, and we've worked really hard to try to up the care and the check-in and the connections with leaders. They're even taking attendance for me of their small groups. They're awesome. And we've planned some trainings. We've planned quarterly trainings where we talk about things like group health, leader health, community health, and church health. And really, my opinion is the healthier leaders are and the healthier groups are, they're going to attract more people. The word's going to get out, and people are going to want to be a part of a group like that. So that is my little overview of where we are with small groups. And if you have questions at the end, I'd love to hear them. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Sherry. Appreciate it. I'll take that for me. All right, I'm going to welcome up Chelsea, Communications Director. She's going to give us an update on all things communication. She's been doing the welcome, been doing a great job of it.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Go for it.
All right, so I'm Chelsea. I had a list of things I wanted to talk about in my head, and now that's not going to translate very well because everything just left. But luckily I have notes, so it's okay. So as you hopefully been seeing, we've been trying to update some of the slides that we use on Sunday mornings. So we've implemented some of the QR codes to hopefully help with that engagement and really interact with people who are new or who have been here and have questions. We are working on team development right now too in the comm department. So if you've ever communicated with anyone, you know it's not a one-way street. So that's true for as well as the communication department. We want to have a two-way engagement. So it's not just creating slides, it's not just doing social media posts that's like getting you information, but we want to really use it as another ministry opportunity to interact with people. So to have those conversations, to facilitate engagement and really point people and get them connected wherever they need to go. So for that reason, I've been trying to develop teams for social media, graphics, and photography. So if you know anyone who's creative who would like to join those teams, please encourage them to reach out to me. If I've talked to you about these teams and you haven't heard from me, please know I still want to utilize you. I still have you in the back of my mind. I'm just trying to figure out these different areas myself. So I do have you on the docket, and I'm going to get you plugged in. And another thing with that is I would also like to start establishing some leadership development opportunities for people who want to volunteer in those areas, because it's not just about the creative, but it's doing things intentionally to really, like I said earlier, facilitate that engagement and have avenues for communication. So I do believe that is all I have today. There's been some really great communication via social media, which has been a really cool avenue to talk with people who don't even come to the church yet, but maybe have questions about our church, especially where we stand concerning hot topics in politics right now. So a lot of times people want to know more about our church, how we interact with people who are different than us, or who want to come in who might be struggling with homosexuality or transgender and that sort of thing. So it's been really cool to have some of those conversations online as well.
Thank you so much. You may not have known, but her influence, you've probably seen it on slides and gotten emails from her, seen her up here in the welcome. So she's a big part of communication, obviously, because that's not only her job, but her passion. So we're grateful for her. So thank you. Thank you very much. All right, I'm going to bring up Sean Kohler, who helps lead a few different things. He helps lead the video team and also our church online team. And so he's going to give you a little bit of an update. I talked about this a little bit before the beginning of the message, and so he'll give you some more stuff.
Okay, well, church online I've seen as a couple of different things. It's providing a place for people who can't physically be here, but it's also a form of first impressions, right? A lot of people, myself included, will check out a website, an online service before you'll go anywhere. So we're basically providing that for people who may be checking out, looking for a new church. Maybe they've moved to the area. That's really important in my opinion. But we are currently seeing right now about 150 to 250 people live on Sunday, which is really cool, and they're from all over the place. We just had somebody from Connecticut and Illinois today in the service, which was cool. So, and then outside of live, about 150 to 200 people who watch on demand through the week. So that's not saying 150 to 250 people. We have a hard time gauging that just because it could be one person watching on their phone. It could be a family of 8 sitting in front of their TV. We have no idea. But that gives you an idea of how many devices are watching on a Sunday and throughout the week. So one of the things that we've been doing lately is we've had a few very generous donors who have provided over $10,000 in giving to the video ministry. So if you guys want to give them a hand. Yeah. And with that, we have, if you've seen online, we actually have a camera behind the drum set that we put up there. Roger, who's back behind camera 2 there, that's a brand new camera, studio camera. And we were able to get another camera that we use throughout the week for things like our video devotionals. If you've seen those, we had our last series, which was the Holy Week devotionals. About 100 people viewed each one of those, which is really cool. So we used that. And I also purchased a gimbal Steadicam, which we haven't used yet. But what's really cool about that is it keeps your camera steady. So like if an angry mob is chasing Kyle down the road, we could get a really cool action shot, which would be awesome. So outside of that, we've got 2 leaders on Church Online who will be stepping up into a big leadership role. They're going to be taking over more responsibility of Church Online. As I said, we have a wonderful video team, Roger back there. Gary is in here somewhere or upstairs. Gary's been a fantastic leader. He's been leading the video team long before I got here. He's been doing it for years. So all the wonderful stuff that we get to see online, since before we were doing Church Online, the videos that were being uploaded, that was our wonderful video team who were already doing a great job before I ever got here. And I think that's it.
Good.
Gary Williams.
Gary Williams, yep.
Yes.
Thanks, Sean.
All right.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks. Give Sean a round of applause. Thank you. Sean and I have been working also together on some future things that we're not ready to talk about quite yet, but we have plans not only because people gave, but because we want to continue to be better as a church. And that is one of the things that we can get better at is our online engagement with people. So we already provide great services with Church Online and stuff we've been talking about. What kind of content do we put online? What kind of content do we do live? And some other stuff. And so we're looking forward to unveiling that at some point soon. I'm not really sure when, so don't ask me. But it's gonna happen at some point. We are working on it. We also wanted to introduce every once in a while, we introduce candidates either for a board of directors, for our elders. And so if you don't know kind of about what the process is, we identify some people, we have some conversations with them. We ask if God has put it on their heart to jump into a higher level of leadership here at LifePoint. And many of them are very, very humble, and they kind of just say, hey, are you sure I'm the right person, guy or gal, to be this? And we said, that's probably the right answer right there. And so we've got people who in various ways have kind of only cemented our thought of what we saw in them. We just hoping they would see it in themselves. And so we want to introduce 2 elder candidates today. At first, I'm going to invite Renee up here. Andrew, who is our second one, is on his way. And if he doesn't make it, I'll read his bio for him. But Renee, he said he would like a ton of questions today because he's super comfortable up here. And he enjoys it.
Would you like to read my bio?
Sure. No, that's what I'll tell you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Well, I was sharing right before I came up here. I said there's 3 things that I really, really have a hard time doing. Number 1 is being on stage. Doesn't feel good. Number 2, put a microphone in my hand. Yikes, we're in dangerous territory. And the third one is you're going to make me talk about myself. So those 3 things all together are a little bit overwhelming. But thank you for inviting me up here. I appreciate it. And just a little bit about me. You know, I'm going to probably sorry. You did great. I was just going to say I was going to get emotional, and I did. I talked myself into that one, didn't I? Well, this is important to me. I think that's why I'm emotional. Well, here we go. I'm a 70-year-old man, and I've been married, well, I've been a Christian since I was 20 years old. I've been married to my lovely bride.
Her name is Judy.
Yeah. Thank you.
I got you.
Yeah, please bear with me. I'm sorry. I have a tendency to get emotional.
It's okay. You don't have to apologize.
But like I said, this is important. This is very important. So Judy and I have lived here for since 2014. We moved here from Southern California. We're one of those bad people from Southern California. But we love it here, and we have been coming to this church for about 3 years now, and we've been involved in a few things. We're small group leaders. We are facilitating the Living Grace group off and on. We've really been involved in lots of activities here at the church. So maybe you recognize me, maybe you don't, and I'm sorry if you have to remember this face, but that's the way it goes. It's the only one I have. So we moved, the other thing that we do too is we're serving in the kitchen. We really like doing that. We appreciate and enjoy that a lot. I'm going to read this part because it's important that I say it in this manner. My focus for this position is to be useful to God in the lives of others. I want to be involved. You are. In your life. Sorry. I hope to become a mentor to others, and an overseer and accountability partner to everyone that I can. I love the LifePoint leadership. I really do. Wow. I thought I'd do better than this. I love this body of believers as well. I've fallen in love with many of you. And if you'll allow me, and more importantly, with God's direction, I will assist leadership in every way that I can.
You're dismissed. It was good.
That's
You're
it?
good. Yeah.
No questions?
No questions, not yet. Not till the end. I just wish he was humble. That would be helpful. I love your name, man. So, the other elder candidate is on his way here. I'm going to read his bio to you, but just so you guys know a little bit again about the process, is that we try to identify someone, again, see something in themselves that they may not see yet. And also, we've been inviting the elders to elder meetings. They've been coming to meetings for a while now, and so they kind of get to see from the people who are already elders, like what it's like, the conversations, and we've had a lot of great talks, some hard ones, and also just it's been very apparent that they're invested in the life of our church. And so part of what will happen today is we'll give you 2 bios. Yeah, go for it.
Did you want to do this update first and let him get here and do his bio?
We might. He might be here on that time. We could try that. That's a great idea, Tammy. Great idea. Okay. She gave, my colleague gave the wise advice. I could do another update to see if Drew will get here in time, so we can do that. And I'll probably talk slowly so he can do that. But what's going to happen is either Drew will get here and he'll get to tell a story. I'll read his bio. But either way, at the back there is a member input and affirmation sheet. And so what we will ask you to do is hopefully read this, and you can sign it. You can give any feedback you would like on here, and would you turn it into us? If you need to take it home, you can. We just hope that it'll get back to us. And if you're online, you can email info@lifepointnv.com, and we will send you one so you can give your affirmation. We'd love to hear from you for our candidates as well. So as we give time for other alternate candidates to get here, wanted to give you an update on sabbaticals. We began talking about this two or three family meetings ago, and we kind of talked about it ever since. And just give you a quick overview without giving you all of the details. The desire behind this was to help honor our pastors. And so we recognize that, especially out of COVID, so many pastors have quit, have given up, did not want to become a pastor, retired early. And so this idea that pastors are not continuing on in terms of longevity has been a problem for a long time. And so this is just one of our ways that we try to help them. And also in helping them, it helps the church as well. And so we want to give them not only replenishment for them, but also so they can recharge and so they can provide the service, or I should say we can provide the service ultimately to the church. And so how this has happened is we had one of our elders whose name is Jacob. He read a bunch of books on this, and the elders read together, and then Jacob took the lead on drafting a document for us that kind of outlined what we'd like to accomplish, what it is, what it isn't. And the board of directors and elders, we met together several times. We passed the document back and forth, and we try to do our best to poke holes in things that maybe we need to have conversations about and affirm the things that were an easy yes. And so after lots of deliberation and agreements and prayer, we were able to come up with what we feel like is a finalized way of doing sabbaticals, at least here at LifePoint. And so rather than go into all the details, because I want to make sure that this all gets done in the right order, because we want to make sure everything is polished, what I can tell you is that the first 2 people, if you weren't here last time, to go on sabbatical will be Roy and his wife Tracy. And right now they're on vacation, and so they're planning on taking their sabbatical together towards the end of the year. If you didn't know, they've been here for a long, long time. I think Tracy's going on 25 years, 24 years. And so we wanted to make sure that they should have taken probably several sabbaticals between now and then. So our desire is for them to go and recharge. It's not a vacation. It's a way for them to recharge and replenish themselves, to get closer to God, to rest, which is going to be really hard for Roy because he's an achiever like myself. And so we really want to give this gift to them and do it well so that when they come back, it will help elongate their years of ministry and service here. So if you have questions about the sabbatical policy at the end, happy to take those as well. So Renee already went. I'm going to start reading Andrew's bio, mostly because he says some stuff in here that I think is kind of funny. So his name is Andrew Ailes. His wife's name is Jana. They're great people, and we approached Drew, and kind of like Renee, was very much like, are you sure you're talking to the right person? Are you sure I'm a good fit for this? And we really value their humility. And so I asked him to turn in a bio, and I read it this morning because I had known about his story, but I hadn't known all of this. So these are his words. So Andrew Ailes, I'm a father of 4 daughters, a husband to Jana, who recently replaced me with a Boston Terrier named Finnick. Born and raised in Carson City by the gracious and patient parents, I went from a cute and sweet little boy to a mostly well-behaved and terrible teenager. I was good at math, so I decided to study engineering at George Fox University, a Quaker school that was so strict I knew I would concentrate on my classes instead of other stuff. I accepted Christ on February 28th of my sophomore year, a revelation on campus. After graduating in 5 years of working as a consulting engineer in Cupertino, California, We moved our family of 4 back to Carson and started going to LifePoint in 2006. I started coaching my oldest daughter in AYSO, and was quickly suckered into serving on their board. Later, my girls decided softball would be fun, so I became a coach and again was suckered to serving on a different board. Then a competitive soccer club recruited my older girls, and I started coaching and serving on that board. This guy has a problem, clearly. I love being a coach and a board member where I've helped to build a place for my girls and other children to have fun and grow. I didn't ever want to serve at a church. I felt I was best at working with children on the field and might have felt a little inadequate to have an official role in the church. My first act at service at LifePoint became because when I was parked in the gravel parking lot, I noticed a growth of weeds encroaching on the pavement, so I came back later and cleaned them up. I didn't have to commit to anything. There were no instructions and no expectations. Later, I was asked to fill in with the children's ministry, and I did not say no. Again, no commitment. And then I attended STEP for a few years. I was asked to lead intro to the 12 steps, and again, it was kind of an emergency and a one-time thing. Then the whole family started serving coffee in the mornings when COVID hit. Wendy was desperate for help, so I would sit in the back and hit the space bar during service so the lyrics and Kyle's words would come on the screen. If you remember, there was a time when Kyle was up there, and 5 minutes into his lesson, it said, "Thank you for coming." And it ended on the screen. Yes, that was me. So it's pretty funny. Anyway, 2 years ago, I was approached about serving as an elder, and I was surprised. How we're functioning as an elder in training has revealed to me how we are all human and we all need Christ's love and grace. Daily life with church members, my small group and leaders have helped me become a better understanding of how much God loves me and how he's shaped me to commit to serving his church. So Renee is a good guy. We've met with him multiple times and have enjoyed my time with Renee and Andrew in the elders meeting, and he will be here soon. So we're going to go into a Q&A time, and so if you have any questions about anything we've gone through so far, anything from the financial update, the special announcement about Bonnie, to ministry updates, to sabbaticals, you can come up to the microphone right here, and if you have a question online, myself and Sean will be able to get those answered for you. So we would love to answer your question if you can, if you have some. Okay. Or we could just be so clear that you have no questions. It's possible. Hey, we're doing well on time. Good job, Tammy.
Yeah.
You're doing a fantastic job. So if you have any questions about sabbatical, financial updates, elder candidates, again, please get some of those forms in the back for affirmation. Feel free. Let's see. No questions online. No way we're this clear. Awesome. This is great.
Or you guys are just ready to move on with the rest of your day.
They're like, it is lunchtime. Get me a sandwich. Yeah, Wendy's like, yeah, let's do that.
It really isn't a big question of what you guys have been saying, but I only saw nothing against Renee because I'm voting for him. But was there a paper for Roy as well? Are we voting for one or the other or both? Or how's that?
It should be Andrew and Renee.
There are 2 papers.
There should be 2
Yep.
papers.
Because we didn't see another
Okay.
form. Or
Both of them look like this on one side, but one of them has Andrew's bio on one side, the other one has Renee's bio on
It
the
should
other
be
side.
back on the tables.
Okay,
So-
what form we didn't see.
Okay.
Yeah, this is probably face up, so it looks like the same.
Chance to vote for everyone we wanted to.
Yep.
Thank you.
Hey, Drew. We just got done telling them all great stuff about you. Good job, Drew. Yeah. We just read your bio. Do you want to add anything? Okay.
But we wanted to make sure
Hi.
that people see
That's what he looks
see
like.
who they're-
That's what he looks
we're
like.
talking about.
Good job
Yes.
coaching.
Thank you for being here. Yes.
Good job.
Thank you so much for coming. Not yet,
Not yet.
but hang
Thank you
out.
for running the space bar.
So what happens if there are members that don't affirm some of the elder candidates? Do you guys take that into consideration?
We do. This is Danny. She's in students. Hello, Danny.
Hello.
Yes, we absolutely do take that into consideration. And whatever concern that would be, we would address that first with the candidate. Or if there was like an overwhelming, no, we don't agree with this at all, then we would take that into consideration and just say, then you guys are the ones that help us decide that. So that's really important.
Thanks.
And there's a difference between affirmation and vote. They're not the same thing. An affirmation is, we believe we picked the right person. Is there anything else that we missed that we should take into consideration, rather than say yes or no, and based on the votes, we would say yes or no to someone. So yeah, good question. She looked at you, Renee, right? I'm just kidding. You already got one vote. You know you got one vote, so you're good. You're good. Great question. Thank you. Any other questions you guys have, or anything that we didn't talk about today that you're curious about? Happy to answer it if we can.
I know last time you guys, during the sabbatical piece, were talking about the distinction between a vacation and what a sabbatical is. And I don't know if that was really clear. So I do want to make that a little more clear, because on a sabbatical, we have to submit a plan to the elder board for approval, not just how we're going to recharge, but also how we're going to lean into God and get clarity around vision for the next season of ministry. And so it is that intentional, focused time about God and what He would have us to do in the next phase of ministry, which obviously would help you guys as a church, right? If we get away and we just really focus on our goals and our clarity and all of that, and whatever we need to do to recharge our souls, our marriages, our families, all of that kind of thing, which ultimately benefits each of you.
Yeah, good call.
I have a question about the affirmation papers, and I'm asking up here in case anyone else has the same question, and if not, no shame. So if we sign or have concerns, where do we put the paper after?
So
give it to Margie.
Margie is collecting them in the back. There is a basket. Margie, where do you have that basket at? Okay, so it's that gray basket that she has, so you can put those in. And if you don't turn them in today, you can turn them into the office.
Yep, we chose the most intimidating person on staff to collect these. Margie's so sweet. In terms of affirmation and sending them in, you do have to have them in by next Sunday, May 29th. So there's a time-bound part to this as well. Oh yeah, first family meeting as a staff member, you're up here? I like this, this is great.
On the affirmation, it states member. I am not a member, however, I am a staff member. Can I still fill that out?
You can, we would still love your feedback,
Okay.
so thank you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's a good question. Anybody else? Church online, financial updates, sabbatical, elders.
Questions for Drew, since he didn't get to do his bio.
Renee. Comments on the message? No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. You can email Roy at lifepointnv.com. That's what you can do. Okay. Well, we could awkwardly sit here and stare at you until someone comes up with a comment. Or, yes. One, two? Good job. See? That's why we like her.
So can we only vote for one person?
No.
Okay, that's all my questions.
Yeah, we're presenting both of them because it's not an election. We're not pitting them against one another, so so we're actively looking for elders and board of directors member. We found two. They've been meeting with us. We affirm, meaning the elders and the staff, affirm that we think that they would be great candidates for the elders, and then we bring it to you guys to see if there's any reason we shouldn't or something we should ask. And so, yeah, they're not. It's not an election, and they're not against each other, which would be kind of fun in one degree. But no, we're asking that you affirm them, or you give us something to think about before we affirm them. We would love both of those. You're welcome. Okay. All right. Well, if you think of another question, Tammy and I will be up here. Since there aren't any questions right now, we wanted to be able to dismiss you 15 minutes early. See what happens when Roy doesn't run this thing? It goes 15 minutes early. Don't tell him I said that online. Well, Tammy, would you pray for us?
Yes.
And again, we'll be up here. If you need something, please let us know.
Father, thank you so much for this time together. Thank you that we had good news to report. Thank you that we are continuing to grow in the most important ways, and that is deeper and more connection, and that people are growing in their desire to give and therefore support the mission that you have. And God, I just pray for each of the elder candidates that you would be with them as they continue to lean into what you have next for them. And I also pray for each of us as we share our thoughts and our perspective, having interactions with them. And I just pray that we would have wisdom and discernment for your highest and best for this body at this time as we continue to move forward. And I pray for those who are on vacation that you would have just renew them, refresh them so that they can come back recharged and ready to serve you. We pray all these things, Jesus, in your name. Amen.
Hey, thank you again for being here. Have a great Sunday. If you have any questions, we'll be up here. Thank you.